Little tour around the generator. There's the dead crank switch. You need to know where that's located so that you can turn the generator on so it'll start. Went in and replaced the oil filter and fuel filters, and there's the one fuel filter here. The other one's back up in here. And that oil filter, replaced the oil in it. And then of course this is with the side cover removed. I had to actually remove the side cover because this filter was so locked in place that I couldn't get it out. Wiring compartment there. The back side of the control panel. And there is a switch you need to know about so that you can change the 3-phase to single phase, and it tells you which connectors you need to use, terminals inside the front to hook up your wires. This is the control panel. You got the switch for setting your different phase settings and voltages here after you set the switch on the inside. And here are the terminals where you tap into with your wires to get the power out of the generator. Then this is access to the other side. Got the batteries out of it right now, or they'd set down in this area. I'm just giving it a good looking over. Gonna have to get in here and remove some years of grease and oil accumulation. That's where the fuel goes in. It's a diesel generator. Has an auxiliary port on here so that you can hook in a large size tank so you can supply it with as much fuel as you want for extended run times. And there is a cover that's been removed here that goes up inside to keep your hands out of the fan. Okay, doing some maintenance work on the old generator, and there's this cover that goes on this side here was all just, the screws were just glued in with some silicone sealer. The nuts had been left off and were dropped inside the case, so had to fish those out and put those back the proper way. And this one hole here is kind of difficult to get at, so we're going to put a threaded insert into that. There's some different kinds of insert sizes that you can get, and they have different tools for putting them in. There's a simple hand tool nut, or you can use like a pop rivet tool, or got the fancier hydraulic version here for putting them in. That's the one I'm going to use. So first thing you have to do is drill the hole out to the right size for the insert. Go up there and drill it out to size. And we load the insert onto the tool. Put that in the hole. Squeeze it into place. And that leaves some nice threads in place so you can put your original screw back in place. And I won't have to fish my hand up inside that compartment to try to get the nut on it like it originally was installed. I removed this cover from underneath of the engine and found this nice piece of oil-soaked foam. So that's pretty grungy and probably be a fire hazard, so get that out of there and replace it with a new piece of foam that just bought online, but it can be cut to fit in there. And then going through the engine or the electrical compartment here and cleaning some of that out. See all the numbers for things in there is for troubleshooting, and that they're all identified, so that helps getting the dirt out of there so you know where things are located. A lot of wires going on here to troubleshoot if there's any problems, but at least if there is a problem, the manuals tell you where to start looking and gives you an idea where the fault might be at. I'm going to start putting these covers back on with some stainless steel screws. So I've got one installed down here already, and this is the arrangement they use. They use this recessed head screw, they put a lock washer on the outside of it, and they put a flat washer on the outside of it. Then they use these K-nuts with the star washers on the insides to hold everything together. So you want to put a little bit of anti-seize on the threads, otherwise you run the risk of them welding together when you try to tighten them up, especially if you're using any kind of power tools. But you don't want them galling up the threads and sticking together, so a little bit of that anti-seize will prevent that from happening while you're installing them or taking them out at a later time. Okay, we finally got the generator all buttoned up. Put new stainless screws into the side panel of it that had broken screws and missing nuts and things like that before. Got the fasteners all back up in the top the proper way in that. And so we got the generator set up inside here to run 120 240 single phase, which is on this switch right here. Shows you the outputs down the lower part of it. Got the wires hooked up in here to take power out of it. Now we got a cable running down here, and that's going to this distribution box. And I've set this box up so that it has standard 120 outlets on it for blades for U-ground, and then the rest of them are twist locks. It's got an input, which is a twist lock. And then around on this side, this is a twist lock outlet for 120. It's got a 50 amp output, so I can run a welder or plasma cutting torch on it. I've got an old motor hooked up to it right there, so you can see power running off of it. And then an extension cord going back over to a grinder. So to start the generator up, you have to start inside this panel and put this switch to normal. Then around at the front panel, you have to make sure that this is set to the L3 for its amps, L3, L1, single phase. That's how we've got wired up. And to start it, you have to pull this emergency switch out. Turn this to the prime position so that we'll prime, and you'll hear that start running. Let that run for a little bit, and then turn it to the start position. If it was cold, obviously you put it into preheat, but it's warm today, so we don't need to do that. Then you have to turn the AC interrupter switch to the closed position. That'll provide power. Then we'll see the motor start up. then shut down reverse order. Open up the interrupter. Turn switched off. Push in the emergency stop. And return this switch back to its center off position. Military surplus, supposed to be good for 6,000 watts, 5,000 watts continuous run. That's it.